5-minute call from the Green Party. I call David Clendon.
E te upoko o te tātou a piringa tēnā koe. Mr. Speaker, what we're debating today is actually a symbol. The flag is a very powerful, a very important symbol. It's a symbol of a nation state, the symbol of a political identity, and to a lesser extent perhaps of a shared cultural identity. It is important. The symbol has already triggered one shooting war in New Zealand, if we recall our history. Our northern tupuna Honehiki took exception to the fact that the symbol of British power was being flown above Kororaraka rather than the flag of New Zealand, which 10 years earlier had been acknowledged by the British monarchy and by the Admiralty. One hopes that this debate currently will not come to blows, but nevertheless it is a critically important conversation we're having about the symbol. I guess in that our objection to this bill is that, in my view, and it's a common enough phrase, form should follow function. And of course that comes from architecture, that the purpose of a building should drive its design. In this instance, the function is our constitutional arrangements that underpins our political identity. The form is the symbol that we fly to represent our nation state, which is of course a flag. And we are having this debate, a referendum, $27 million, $26 million of expenditure, worrying about changing the form where we should be addressing the function, the underlying constitutional arrangements. And it's true that in 2010 the government did establish a panel, the Independent Constitutional Advisory Panel, who in 2013 reported back the findings, and with all due respect to the eminent New Zealanders who sat on their panel, their recommendation was perhaps a little underwhelming, which was that we should continue the conversation. A very genuine and a thoughtful enough recommendation, a very real one. It's fair to say that this current flag consultation process has struggled to get the numbers. We've all seen the pictures of halls prepared for 100 people with 5 or 6 embarrassed-looking people and probably a larger number of officials. So the Constitutional Advisory Panel back in 2010 or thereabouts received something like 5,259 submissions, which in the words of Mr. English, who spoke earlier today, indicated some interests in the nation's constitutional framework. Mr. English then went on to say, and I quote, "Although there is no sense of an urgent or widespread desire for change." So by Mr. English's admission in 2013, New Zealanders are not jumping up and down in the street for this. We do, I think, there is a groundswell, a feeling we need to look hard at our constitution and therefore at the symbols that represent us as a nation state. But there seems to be not the urgency. It seems peculiar that we are spending an inordinate amount of time and a remarkable amount of money debating the form rather than the function of our constitution. I think we wouldn't need to spend $26 million to think hard and perhaps to develop a new, more fit-for-purpose constitution. We have a very good model, Amā Tiki Mai, which is a project being led by Moana Jackson, a lawyer specialising in constitutional and Māori te tiriti issues particularly, who for very little money, along with a very well-informed, powerful team of people, continues to go around the country talking about what our constitution could look like. And I think it's fair to say that too often the question posed is, how might te tiriti o Waitangi fit into our constitutional arrangements? That is the wrong question, sir. The question we need to ask is, what form of constitutional arrangement logically emerges from our te tiriti o Waitangi, which I think we collectively recognise as the founding document of our country? That's the debate we should be having, rather than this rather tangential debate about the symbolism, about the flag, about what has been described as the piece of coloured cloth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.